Aloha, you beautiful mother fathers. Welcome in another episode of the Side Hustle podcast across every single streaming platform you could possibly imagine. Because why not?
Why not?
We're here.
Why not?
Yeah. Kyle Cornell, AA Anthony Alfred with you, as always.
Can I ask you a question before we, start?
Well,
I know we're rolling.
We already started.
Can I ask you a question? So, you're married, right? And, Jim, you're married, right? You okay. I was told yesterday.
Oh, here we go.
When you get married, do husbands lose their sense of opinion?
You can have an opinion. Doesn't mean it's going to be what happens.
Okay. It doesn't mean that it will stick.
Yeah. I have a lot of opinions. That's why I have a podcast.
There we go. All right. I was told maybe you get married, you lose your opinion. I'm like, I'm a talk show. I'm a podcast host. I use the Jason Kelsey line. I'm a podcast host. What do you? No.
You're also you. I mean, you're one of the most outspoken people I know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
Speaking of outspoken, I didn't get a chance to make the slide for it. Can we lead with Ric Flair for a hot second?
So I did not see this, and for the purpose of being surprised, I wanted to let you just bring it up during the podcast, and I wanted to naturally react to you talking to me about this Ric Flair.
All right, so two things from Ric Flair. We'll talk about the video in a second. I want to lead. You remember his final match, like a year ago?
Which one?
Whatever one you recall. I guess
he's retired like 14 times. A fucking Tom Brady or Brett Favre of wrestling.
I would like to think his retirement match was against Shawn Michaels.
We all would like to think that, wouldn't we?
But then he kept working.
Then he didn't stop.
He went to TNA. Okay, fine. TNA is going to give you a check. And then he kept working. So he planned a heart attack spot. So here's what happened. So in that match, they booked a heart attack spot. So when he was at ringside, he had a heart attack.
Oh, please don't tell me he actually had one.
Turned out he didn't have a heart attack then, but during the match he did have a heart attack. It turned out while he was resting in the middle of the ring, or not resting, but he was hit and you're laying down, he was out of breath.
Yeah.
Doctors said he had a heart attack right then and there.
How is Ric Flair alive?
I don't know.
How does he? So I guess so my dad lives in Florida and he knows some people that live in Tampa, and he was telling me apparently Ric Flair's out and about at bars every day, drinking that people under the table, eating, doing whatever, still living. I'm like, this dude's like, oh, what is he, 80? He's got to be in his 80s
at
now,
least,
or close to
at
it.
least 75 at least.
He's in his late 70s.
Yeah.
At the best, mid to late 70s. I mean, and he's still doing all this shit.
So the latest incident, Kyle, that came up over the weekend, he was at a bar or at an establishment.
I can believe that.
He was at an establishment, sitting at the bar area, and he was really, really talking down to one of the employees, one of the bartenders, I guess. I don't think it was a bar. I think it was a diner or something. But
like a busboy or something like that.
Yeah, but he had he had a few drinks. But kindness to his heart, he found a female employee who worked there and offered to give her a $1,000 tip.
What's the catch?
And then he found some kind of connection, but then he's just like, this dude's a piece of garbage, this, that, other, curse words you could use. Ric Flair even used, and there are certain terms when we talk pro wrestling that is not meant to be used in mainstream form. For example, you ever, in regular conversation, do you ever tell somebody, I'm not putting you over? In regular conversation.
Now, for me, no, but for a man who's lived this gimmick for 60 years, that becomes his language, man. That's how he's going to talk.
He told that waiter, I am not putting you over.
Well, if Ric Flair goes on social media and does some stuff.
He's 70. Thank you, Jim. He's 75.
Damn, really? He looks like he's about 97,000 years old.
To be honest, though, Ric Flair has looked old my entire life, though. So
Ric Flair in his 50s was like, bro.
Yeah, he was running wild. No, but so all that happened. I was caught on video, and Ric Flair was saying at this establishment, this employee who's probably making minimum wage, was screwing him and his family. And, Ric Flair had a few drinks, and he's 75 years old. Talking about he's not going to put this employee over, but he's going to give the female employee a $1,000 tip. And then told the dude, you want to settle this like a real man, we could talk outside in the parking lot.
Rick, man, it's the one thing that will never leave that man is the confidence. Like, he believes,
yeah,
I'm going to take this 20-something-year-old kid outside, and I'm going to whoop him.
Yeah.
And this kid's got to be, like, just looking at him like, man, this is Ric Flair.
Yeah.
But also, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, my God.
You just don't.
Maybe. Do people even know who Ric Flair is anymore? If I walk up to a random 22-year-old, waiter at Red Lobster, are they going to know who Ric Flair is? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't. I mean, Ric Flair is so out there, though, that I think once you start talking, maybe. But at the same time, though, we're talking about non-wrestling with non-wrestling fans. Did that employee know when Ric Flair came to a section that was Ric Flair? Or is this a 75-year-old?
This is like a 21-year-old like college senior
Yeah.
just trying to get through school and just work his way up and just trying to save some money to pay off that debt that's coming no matter what. Fucking this old dude walks in with his family. We'll take you outside. I'm not gonna put you over.
Yeah. Speaking of debt, I think he helped cover a little bit of the debt from the student debt. But can I ask you this though? In the last, I guess, 10 years, 5 to 10 years, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. That's 1A and 1B to an entire generation of wrestling fans. When you do the Mount Rushmores like we've done and everyone has done at some point, Hulk Hogan's in there. Ric Flair's definitely in the conversation. And again, at one time, that's 1A and 1B. Who has had a bigger downfall in society?
Oh, Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
Ric Flair was never called a racist.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
Which, again, we all make mistakes, believe me. But at the same point, there are levels to those mistakes.
Yeah, there is.
just a little bit. Like, when you're outward like that, man, that's some Donald Sterling shit right there.
Yeah, you can't do that.
I don't like that.
No, you can't do that.
No way, Jose.
Yeah. Would you rather be called out by a 75-year-old man, saying, I'm going to fight you because, you didn't get your grits
That's not even a downfall.
made
That's
correctly?
Just a Thursday for Ric Flair.
It really
It
is.
doesn't fucking matter. He's like, he'll brush that shit off and do something else.
Somebody probably showed him the video, and he probably said, did that happen?
He's like, oh, all right. Can't go back. Gotta
Done
go forward.
worse.
I've done worse.
I've done worse.
Oh, yeah, yes.
All right, let's get to. We have a lot to get through on today's show, a ton. And there's a conversation we're going to have. You're going to lead in just a little bit about what could be one of the biggest things in professional wrestling since the passing of Bray Wyatt. We're going to lead that conversation in just a little bit. But the first thing we brought up, I wanted to get this. Jey Uso, and this was actually part of the European tour before Backlash, but the crowd at Backlash.
First live TV or any sort of PLE event there in like 31 years in France or whatever it was. They waited a long time for that. Like those people. And this is Lyon. This isn't even Paris. It's not Geneva. It's Lyon. It's the third biggest city in France, but still. Obviously, they couldn't do Paris because of the Olympics. Buildings were tied up, all that stuff. So they went to another place they figured was going to be pretty hot. And holy shit. You watch AEW nowadays and you watch the crowd. They'll pop for like a move or a big spot.
Mm-hmm.
And they just sit there and they're quiet and don't do anything. And you can hear crickets chirping. Oh, and then he had a double Canadian destroyer. Oh my god! Whoa, holy shit!
Oh, what
wow.
a move!
Whoa, what a maneuver!
What a maneuver!
And then oh, okay, yeah. And then they just sit there. Tony is recreating the Japanese crowd, except Japan's crowd's actually like awesome, and they pay respect to people that deserve respect for most of the time. This is the complete opposite. People in WWE don't even have to cut promos anymore.
No.
You can just go in the ring, and you're fucking over.
Yeah.
That's how hot they are, and that's how with it they are with their storytelling. Is everything great? No. Right? There's always things we can pick apart. But overall, the product is head, shoulders, knees, and toes, and add another body to it as well over AEW right now. And it showed in Lyon, France. International show. Remember AEW? We're the international. We're worldwide. We're the best. If they go to Lyon, France, are they going to have that crowd?
You know, the first thing I thought of, like, watching Backlash, I've always, I don't know anything about soccer at all, but I've always dreamed, even as a play-by-play guy, I've always wanted to call Premier League soccer. Only because the crowds.
Oh, the energy's insane.
Is unbelievable. Unbelievable. Can you imagine? That event was the one time I was jealous of Michael Cole. Corey Graves.
I'm jealous of Cole every day. That's an awesome job.
That is what? Are you kidding me?
They get to go just talk about wrestling for a couple hours a week on TV. They don't go to the live events. If they do, they're producing backstage. They don't like actually go out there. I mean, Cole works once a week now.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. And he pulled back because he used to work
both shows.
Both shows, and then also behind the scenes, kind of help produce.
Yeah.
He might have helped produce Corey Graves, but he stepped back. He was like, I'm cool just hanging with McAfee every Monday.
Until fall, yeah, they'll do that until they'll find somebody else to fill that. Obviously, when Pat decides to go back to college game.
Uh-huh.
I mean, no, it's and to have the experience like you're seeing behind us and the like Backlash. If you haven't watched a WWE like pay-per-view, premium live event, whatever you want to call it, recently, watch it. I don't know if it's just Backlash because last year's Backlash was sick too in Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Like, with the Bad Bunny entrance and the whole thing. Like, that show was awesome. Even Cody Brock was a good match. Like, this was freaking awesome. Everybody was into it for every single person. Everyone that was wrestling that night felt like they were larger than life. I know. Especially Jey Uso. He may be pushing Cody right now for top face in the company with how over he is everywhere.
Can we talk about Jay for a second? Because I do want to address a criticism that's going around, in the streets of pro wrestling.
Where exactly are the streets of pro wrestling located?
The Twitter, Jim.
Okay. Yeah, Twitter. Twitter is the streets of pro wrestling.
The mean streets of Westlake.
That's
somebody was like, hey, I've had tough times, I'm not going down that route. Every neighborhood has somebody, so I'm not going to go down that route.
That's correct. Usually neighborhoods have people in them.
They have residents, and within those residents, sometimes
there can only be one.
There could be one. There might be one
who's had it harder than everybody else.
Man,
in that 5-bedroom house.
Man. I'll say this: every neighborhood, there's some kind of struggle that somebody goes through. Every neighborhood.
Get to your point with Jay. Tell me what the streets are saying about Jey Uso.
Hey man, we about to go I'm gonna go real therapy. We got a couch over there. I'll tell you about what's wrong in your city.
It's not big enough. I can't lay down.
Jey Uso's great. Obviously, with the crowd going, and the yeet, and
is it? He's like out of breath by the time he starts talking because he's so into.
I actually said that when he was at Raw.
He goes so hard that entrance when he was eating and all that shit.
I remember one of the first episodes we did. I said, look, I love Jey Uso, but the word yeet, first off, you gotta say that with your soul. Like that comes from the gut. Like you yeet. Like that comes from the gut, the base, the diaphragm. Like, it all comes out. And you can't have Jay open your shows because you're out of breath. As a crowd, you're exhausted. And that did not apply to this crowd, obviously. No. That did not. But I was just saying, when it was here in Cleveland back in December, he opened that show, and we didn't get our breath back until Punk and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
And that was that big build-up that we did
Robbed
not
of.
get because of
Thanks,
Punk's
Drew.
injury. Which I guess maybe that turned out to be the best because Seth got into the whole. All right, I'm drifting. When the match starts, people are concerned that Jey Uso cannot hold up his end of the bargain in the ring.
So this is the problem. If I don't do 45 moves that make your jaw drop or get 6 stars in a match, all of a sudden I can't wrestle. Like, no, he doesn't do anything super flashy. It's because his presentation is in the storytelling and in his entrance and the way he carries himself. You can tell by the way Jay carries himself, he's a star. That's the difference between, you talked about it before WrestleMania, like Jay and Jimmy. Jimmy is over and he's got that energy and he's got that, that persona, but he doesn't feel like the star.
Mm-hmm.
Jay is a star. He has that. The whole family's talked about it.
Yeah.
He's got that it. It's kind of like Roman. They just have it. Like, it took longer for Jay to get to that point because he was in a twin tag team, which he's going to be doomed to repeat here soon, unfortunately, too. But nevertheless, I mean, he still has that ability to just go over the top with everything. And he doesn't have to do, back-to-back Canadian destroyers or do a double, a 630 off the top rope or go through tables or whatever it is. Like, he can actually just wrestle a technical, sound match, kind of like how The Miz did it, but with even more personality and being more over with the crowd than Miz could imagine just because Jay has that extra it, where Miz is a little bit, underneath that.
But is there too many, like, super kicks? There's too many finishers, I should say, in his moveset.
He took the spear. That was the one thing he took from Roman. Like, that's a little nod to the tribal chief, right, for everything he did for him, because he did do a lot for him, too, and then to get him to that point. So he took the spear as kind of like a pseudo finisher. The splash has always been his finishing move. They do the super kicks. That's their thing too. It's an easy move to do. It's safe. You're not messing with doing all this crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have no problem with how he wrestles because I don't expect everyone to have that. And if everyone on your roster is doing that shit, you're going to have a situation like AEW where nobody stands out. And that's a problem. They may have one guy who does it really well, like Will Ospreay, who does it better than probably anybody else. And there's a reason why he'll get some looks and some nods. But then you've got Orange Cassidy doing the same moves, the suicide dives with his hands in his pockets.
Yeah.
You have always the people that are not, they're doing it like Will Ospreay, but they're not doing it nearly as well. So you're just seeing the same shit over and over again instead of getting variety. Okay, yeah, Ricochet's going to be in a match. Cool. But then I can watch Jay have a technical match, a beatdown, a brawl, whatever it is.
Right.
Then I can watch Gunther just pound the shit out of somebody.
And I don't even think he has a finisher. I think somebody mentioned, like...
Gunther?
Yeah.
He's got, like, 4 finishers.
Exactly.
Powerbomb, lariat, the big splash. At one point, he was doing a big senton off the top rope. Like,
he's able to adjust depending on who he's facing. It's like your favorite...
Exactly.
It's like if you have a really good sports team, their strength is everything.
For Jay, he started doing that jumping super kick where he actually leaves his feet and does. It's almost like kind of like like the kick where like Shawn Michaels used to do, where he hit him and he used to flip back over.
Mm-hmm.
But instead, it's an actual like wind up, knee cocked super kick through. First time I saw that because he hit it clean, I was like, "Holy shit, that could be that," because that's a different variation of the super kick, at least something we've seen him do. So he's made some adjustments, but again, some of these, is Cody a one trick pony because he does the same 3 moves every match? He does his Cody Cutter, his disaster kick, and his crossroads. How many more moves does Cody do?
I always wanted to tell you that John Cena was a fraud because he did 5 moves.
Cena took that shit personal, and when he had a feud with AJ Styles,
he did.
He unleashed like another 8 to 10 moves in that match, and we were just like, "What the fuck?" And
he added moves. If you remember his U.S. Championship Open Challenge run, he added moves every match.
Cena knew how to do a lot of that shit too. He was in the business for 20 years. The thing was, what does the moment dictate?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to do all these moves if I know I'm going to beat this guy?
And people criticize. I know we gave Hogan a beatdown a couple minutes ago, but even Hogan, if you watch his tape back in the 90s in Japan, a little bit more to his moveset, when he was wrestling in Japan.
I don't know why a guy that was 6'7", 300 pounds finisher was a leg drop. Dude, if there was ever a time for a master lock or a full Nelson or some sort of anaconda, something like that, to use the fucking pythons. Literally, it's in the name.
Yeah, he could. He really could have.
But instead, he wanted to fuck up his back and do leg drops every night. Everyone else felt fine. Never felt a thing except for Hulk Hogan.
Unbelievable.
Guys, they were bad.
Unbelievable.
I see that now, and I'm like, ew.
One last thing about Jay.
Yeah.
So, that whole backstage interaction. Remember I said before the draft, and I got this prediction wrong, but they might still be heading this direction. I said before the draft, it was time for Jey Uso to be on the same brand as the Bloodline. It didn't happen. However, the interaction backstage, what did you think of that whole interaction with the new Bloodline?
The brief.
Which it was brief, and these guys.
I
then
have a bone to pick with one of them.
I'll lean to the side here.
There's Paul.
Paul Heyman, kind of having that look of,
I can't tell
I
if he's
need
panicked
you to help me.
Yeah, I can't tell if he's panicked or if he's just kind of like going with it, or it's all a fucking a facade, whatever you want to call
That's
it.
the history of Paul Heyman.
He does that.
That's
he'll
the
make you
history
think.
of him in real life and as a character.
He'll make you think he's doing one thing, and all of a sudden, oh, he's fine. He was all on board with this shit. He was actually pulling the strings, like him and The Rock. It's unbelievable.
How
right?
can he not be in contact with Roman since WrestleMania?
Yeah, that's bullshit.
I call foul on
I think
that. I either call foul on that or you haven't reached out.
That could be it too. Because Roman's not going to call Paul.
No.
He's doing his own thing. Paul is the one that's supposed to consult with him, not Roman's supposed to go out of his way anymore to consult with Paul. Maybe when they first started that partnership, but now Roman's been Roman, right? For years.
He's good.
But, I mean, I don't know. I think the ultimate reveal would be at some point if he slowly pulls out the phone and it's the Rock's logo on the back. It's like, I'll tell you who the real tribal chief is next week.
Oh, boy.
One of those things.
I love the interaction they had, though, with Jay because,
It was
first
very
off,
brief.
it was very brief, but you can say everything in facial expression says 1,000 words. First off, for all that to happen before the World Championship match, in a way, gave Jay an out for losing.
They didn't come out and do anything.
Well, he didn't, but just think, he's trying to make it on his own.
The mental of them being there. Yeah.
It's just like, I got to deal with this.
But you also know it's not the draft rules go into effect, right? So I mean, you're not worried about this is not going to be a long-term thing. It's just they're just here for 1 week or whatever it was. I don't know. Well, no, because it was at the Premium Live event.
Mm-hmm.
So he doesn't have to deal with them on Raw every week.
No.
At least not yet.
But not yet.
But there's going to be something that pulls him, whether it's waiting till Survivor Series and having that, OG Bloodline versus New Bloodline. I don't know who their fourth member is going to be. Those guys on the screen right there. Could it be The Rock? Could they bring in Jacob Fatu as the fourth guy, who I think he should have been the third guy, but I get why they brought in Tonga Loa, even though I got a bone to pick with him. But, dude, first spot, WWE, in 12 years, didn't do it on time. The ref had to pull himself out of the ring. That's my one criticism from Backlash.
Look, the ref did a great job.
The ref sold it.
The ref did a great job.
But I'm getting the freaking dude on the bicycle. That's what I'm getting from Tonga Loa again. There's a reason why he's been in New Japan for as long as he has been, and there has been no interest anywhere else. Now because the family's here, his brother, Tama Tonga's here, which they're setting this up obviously brothers versus brothers, Usos versus the Tongas.
Uh-huh.
They're setting up obviously Solo and probably maybe Roman at some point. But I think the bigger thing obviously is Rock Roman. Jacob Fatu's interesting added that. And plus now that means too, so if Roman does come back and recruits the Usos, who's their fourth? Right?
Sammy?
It almost has to be, right? Because Sammy's still there for Jay.
Yeah. Does
Jimmy come back around? Do they all get together? Roman looks at Sammy and says, man, I had a chance to reflect over these.
And then I think of, and then the first thing that comes to mind if I say Sammy is, well, wait a minute. How does that affect his relationship with KO? I know that's not the overall big main point of the story, but I'm just thinking, well.
Were KO and Jay, they were still, before KO got drafted to SmackDown, they were still kind of on the rocks, weren't they?
Kind of, yeah.
Remember that.
Yeah.
Again, this is all long-term storytelling shit that's going to come back in 6 months. We're going to be like, oh, shit, yeah. I mean, that could be something where maybe Sammy goes to Kevin. And he's like, I could get teaming with Jay. You're friends with Jay. And I could get now Jimmy because Jimmy's been with Jay now and they've been fine. And we love the Usos. but why Roman? Like, he could do the whole thing, and he could leave Sammy out high and dry. It turns Kevin heel. There's ways to go about that.
You could do that. You still got Randy. More on that in a second. You still got.
Well, Randy, and I don't think Randy will ever team with Roman Reigns.
No. I'm just saying in the intertwining.
It's all over the place.
Story, and then even at some point, all this will come back to Cody. At some point,
I don't know.
Something will come. I don't think it'll be like the final
Rock.
story.
It'll be Rock that will come back to Cody. I don't think it's going to be Solo.
That's
It's not going to be any of these guys. I don't even think it's going to be Roman. I think Roman is not going to be going for a title, maybe ever again. He doesn't really need it anymore. He's so over. Everywhere we go now, we want Roman. We want Roman. And he's getting more cheers now than he did when he was champ. So, I mean, they're building a successful babyface without him being present. Every week he's gone, he's going to get more and more. Like, we miss him. We need him. We want him. And, like, that's the whole game plan. But I don't know if they're 5, because technically War Games is supposed to be 5-on-5.
Correct.
Is the Tonga brothers, Solo, Jacob Fatu, and The Rock. If you have Roman, you have the Usos, and let's say you pull Sammy in there, who's the 5th? Do they sign somebody like Zilla Fatu, who's technically, I think, still under contract with MLW? Like, that's...
I don't know all these family members. They have so many.
Zilla may be... So I think he's Umaga's youngest son. Like, if you get a chance, look him up. He's...
Do we got to go back to that kickoff show and study that PowerPoint?
Yeah. The Las Vegas show, you probably should, because you're going to see a lot of those names in WWE. Well, Abe was already...
Oh, my goodness.
Abe was already the GM of NXT, so, I mean, she was in that one, the Schism group or whatever, for a long time.
I guess that's what I'm waiting for too. It's like, okay,
is she gonna wrestle ever again?
On the women's side, that's a good point. But on the women's side,
they've kept that at bay. Naomi's not touching the bloodline. I think Tamina retired or something like that, or she's done.
Yeah.
So her connection's out too. Nia Jax has mentioned it on TV a couple of times that she's.
But she's doing her own thing.
She doesn't need to be in that group.
I'm just thinking. I'm like, if this is going to be an all-out assault thing, I just look. I'm just gonna throw this out there. Family is family, right? In a sense, Nia and Naomi are currently on the same show now.
Yeah. I think that the core thing would be The Rock recruiting his daughter, and then like Naomi coming in because she's Jimmy's wife and all that stuff.
And then, because Nia did say on Twitter, Naomi is just misguided. I don't know. I don't know if it's something that's like even desired or anything like that.
They won't ever have her go against Jimmy. I just don't think that's going to be.
No. I'm just not. Maybe. Well, we got to dominate the women's division too. I don't know.
If they want to make a female bloodline, yeah, good luck.
I don't know.
They don't need to do that.
No, but
one's enough.
One is good. Very much enough.
Don't make this like
they could add like 20 additional members.
That's the fucked up part.
This is almost like the Dudleys and ECW.
These guys are not. But the thing is, though, it's actually real.
I know.
It's not like, the Dudleys are just random people. Like, no, these guys are actually all related.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Yeah.
It just doesn't stop. And they're all going to have kids. And all of them are going to have like 5 or 6 kids. Roman's got 5 fucking kids, for Christ's sake. I mean, those kids are going to come up, and one of them's going to want to do it.
Man, when are they going to give... I do have one beef with Triple H. When are you going to give Rikishi a call? He's up here...
He could have said no a bunch of times, too.
He's up here releasing diss videos and stuff. Apparently Rikishi's a top-of-the-line rapper who might be helping out Drake or Kendrick.
Okay.
And when are they going to give Rikishi a call?
I feel like they probably did, and he probably said, let the kids do it.
He's probably drunk. I don't know.
Well, he's probably like, I don't need to be there. You got Rocky there. You got these kids that are all over there. I don't need to do this.
You know what they were gonna do, and I think it just got scrapped because of this is probably a year ago. Oh, when they did the tribal court with Sammy.
Yeah.
The original plot of that episode was gonna be all the legends, I guess, of the family, to the family.
They're all gonna show up.
That never happened.
Yeah, they canceled that.
They could still do it at some point.
Well, who is the real tribal chief, right? They could have like Solo and Roman being in a spot, and that's where The Rock comes back. and maybe they put the beads on the Rock, that kind of thing. Like he hasn't failed us like you did. Like here you go, that kind of thing.
Would
Again,
people boo The Rock?
Yes,
Yeah, final.
they were
boss.
doing it.
I know.
People act like the final boss character's done just because he's filming a movie. He's not done. He's got too many stories that actually would entice him to come back because one is family related, and one involves being the people's champ. So the Cody story is about who's the real champ of the people. And then obviously Roman is the story he's wanted for years and years and years and years.
And this time, if Rock put a beating on Roman, the way that he did to Cody, in the ring, cameras, cut, no, just because the show's over doesn't mean that the shit stops. Puts a beating on Roman. Roman's crying for help. People cheer for Roman and stand behind Roman.
People will cheer for Roman as soon as he comes back.
Mm.
That's, like I said before, it's how over the company is, how over the storytelling is. People are invested. They want to see this all the way through, and they've learned patience. Over the past 3.5 years, or whatever it was, we were just waiting, when's Roman going to lose? Oh, my God. They learned to be patient because the payoff was possibly the greatest WrestleMania of all time. So, take a breath. It's going to be a little bit. Probably not till fall before we start seeing some of these dominoes really start to fall over. But it'll be worth it.
And again, SummerSlam's coming up quick. So, be invested. SmackDown, it's just fun. I'm sorry. Watch these guys beat down. And that was a heck of a match. They have KO and Randy. That was great. I love the beginning of it. Like, they couldn't separate. And Nick Aldis, and it made sense too because Nick Aldis, it felt like he made that decision not out of spite, but really he has a responsibility to his staff. Like,
they can't stop him.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
we're not gonna have employees.
I'm gonna save everybody the trouble and just let's make this the only hardcore match on the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do it.
Man.
Yeah.
Paul Heyman is in trouble. All right, so about a month ago, this appeared on our TVs on the USA Network.
Right after WrestleMania is when it started.
And a little bit creeped in, and Matt Hardy. And Kyle wanted no parts of the Matt Hardy. I'll be honest, I really didn't either. And Matt Hardy found his way over to TNA. Good for him, competing for the world title. And Matt Hardy is doing his own thing. But we got a video finally on Monday out of this QR code message. And what we're expecting is this. The Wyatt 6. In that video, I believe, I guess fully pun intended here, that say you didn't believe. I guess, in us.
There was a sneak in there. It changed from you didn't believe to they believed. They put in little nods to like Bo Dallas.
So you're all in on this. So I've asked you, you got to kind of take us through what perhaps who's going to be in this and what is coming with this.
So this is the return of the list, not Chris Jericho's list from 2015, but my list, my top 5. There have been some rumors about who would be in this group when it comes back. It's going to debut. There's a lot of things pointing towards June for when this would happen. If anyone doesn't know, Bray Wyatt, the wrestler Wyndham Rotunda, who passed away last year, 36 years old in a heart attack in August of last year, was building towards, when he was still wrestling, building a group, a faction of people that were all tied to him in some sort of way. One of those people was already revealed as his brother, Taylor Rotunda, who's obviously Bo Dallas. He was in WWE for, I want to say almost a decade.
Mm-hmm.
NXT and, of course, in the main roster, that kind of stuff. We've talked about him previously, that kind of thing. Bray, unfortunately, passes away, like I said, and there's a long time of just kind of like, hey, maybe we should let this go. Then there's like a groundswell, mainly around the time they air the documentary about Bray and his life and all that stuff. And they teased a little bit at the end of that, obviously. There's
Peacock documentary around WrestleMania.
Yes.
Which I still have not.
Really?
I have not.
Watch it.
Maybe I will watch it. I think
Yes.
emotionally, it's selfish of me as a fan. Emotionally, I have not been ready to watch it, but very soon I will.
It's worth it. It's really worth it. Yeah, Jimmy V said, if you don't laugh, cry, all that stuff in the day, you don't really live.
All right,
So you need to cry tonight.
all right, Mr. Espy. All right.
One day. But no, so there was a tease at the end of the documentary about kind of starting this again and building through. And then obviously Double A showed the QR code. Matt Hardy's full of shit. He's nowhere near this. I think he was more about just like, hey, I support the hell out of this because it's going to be awesome. If you remember when Bray first came back after getting fired from WWE, when Triple H brought him back, they did the White Rabbit, the QR codes, all that stuff. You really had to look for some of those clues in there. It was kind of like a lot of brain teasers, that kind of stuff. They've turned the dial up on these. Like, to the point where, like, the QR code's only flashing on the screen for, like, 0.6 seconds, and you have to, like, get it, like, right on there to really work.
Yeah.
They're making you work to get this. One of the reasons why I've enjoyed it so much is because I've really had to try to, like, seek out and see all the different videos they've released and different, teases and the pictures and all that kind of stuff. So we know, and by let's pass Monday's video, we saw Bo walk towards the screen at the end of the video. In his,
Yeah, we did.
it was kind of like a mix of an Uncle Howdy Fiend gimmick, the way he was dressed. He had like the striped pants on, but he also had like the Uncle Howdy jacket on. So there could be some.
I can't wait to see Bo lead this.
I'm so excited.
I can't wait.
Is he still going to be Bo? Do they just call him Taylor Wyatt
I don't know.
or Bo Wyatt? I think Bo
I
Wyatt's
don't know.
perfect,
I mean, think about this. I know you're going to get to who's going to be in this in just a second.
Yeah.
Think about Bo Dallas, the character. Somebody who, as far as we know, as a character, nice guy. Nice guy. But it's one of those guys, we all know these guys. We all know these people. You may be one of them. And sometimes we feel like we're one of these guys at times. Sometimes very misunderstood. Nice guy who is misunderstood. Nice guy who has demons in his head. Nice guy who's trying to do something with his life and try to fit in society, but it never feels like he can. Never felt like he fit. It never felt like when he was just Bo Dallas that he belonged.
It felt like it wasn't really him. And we talk about realism and characters and trying to bring your own personality into it to really make it feel real. It never really felt like, oh yeah, I'm a motivational speaker. Like no, he felt exactly like you felt like. He felt like he was kind of out of place. His brother is really successful and he's over and he's this unbelievable creative mind. And then you get the whitest babyface dude. Or when he was with the Miz, when he was in the Miz Taraj, like just the most basic, kindergarten cop, mall cop type dude that just kind of just hangs out.
Yeah,
like
that's a good way to put it.
It didn't feel like he was being used to his full potential, and then obviously being able to see some of the ways he's talked and spoke since then, it's like maybe there's something there, and obviously they think there's something there too.
And thank goodness I haven't had to experience grieving a lost sibling, but you have to imagine too, losing a sibling that was basically acting like you, like how you really are, after it seems like your whole family is broken apart. I have nothing else to lose. I'm going to get the people who fit me, I guess, who relate to me. And all these people, I guarantee you, all the people you're about, and we have not talked about who Kyle's going to put on this list.
Nope.
I have some educated guesses, but
there's a few you probably would know.
But the names, I'm 99.9% sure Kyle's going to say, at least the ones that I know, if it's going to feel that way, like people who are trying to fit in society, try to mold themselves into something, but just felt like they didn't belong, and if they acted like their real selves, that they would not be accepted into normalized society.
Yeah, that's fair. So to give preface or precedence on this too, the names that have been leaked, as far as the supposed people that are a part of this, we have obviously Bo, we have Nikki Cross, We have Eric Rowan, who just re-signed to WWE. It's kind of a given. We have Joe Gacy from NXT.
So what's his story? I
He
feel bad
led
because I don't watch.
He led basically the NXT version of the Wyatt family
Okay.
2.0 with like the schism. That was the part that Ava was part of too.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of very similar to the Wyatt family, kind of the creepy cult leader type dude. He had that going for a long time.
It makes sense for him, and
Exactly.
then from a technical standpoint, boom, there's your call up from NXT.
There you go. And then the last one actually is Dexter Loomis. He's
Dexter,
also been,
yeah,
So
love that guy.
now you notice I only named 5 people. The reason why there's only been 5 names is because they believe the 6th person is going to be Bray Wyatt. They're going to make him be still a leader of the Wyatt 6, but obviously posthumously, like in his death.
Oh my goodness.
Which Matt Hardy was talking about, the holograms and all that bullshit. You can if they do that, it's gonna take my interest down a little bit, just because it's like, hey, you know what? You can honor this guy without making it like he has to be there. He's already there. Like in spirit, he's there. Through Bo, he's there. He doesn't need to be there physically like that in some sort of way. You could do callbacks to like him like talking about the group or making some statements or whatever, like on video or something like that. But I don't want to see the stupid fucking holograms or none of that stuff. And again, preface this too, Matt Hardy not on the list. I'm sorry. I don't need to. The only time I want to see Matt Hardy is him going into the Hall of Fame and then promptly retiring. Sorry. Love Matt and Jeff. Love Matt and Jeff. But
sign one day. Get that one-day contract.
Sign that one-day contract. Retire with your home team. Just do it. Okay. So, return to the list. Here we go. My Wyatt 6 actually has 6 members.
Okay.
The first one is Bo Dallas. Right? I don't know what his name is going to be in WWE now. I don't know if they're going to change it. I think Bo Wyatt sounds great. If they decide to go that way, I think he should. But it could be the full circle. I'm finally embracing who I was meant to be.
Yeah.
I knew I was always a Wyatt, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Alexa Bliss is second on this list. There's a lot of talk because it feels like Braun Strowman's not going to be a part of this group. He's going to do his own thing, possibly even try to lead someone against the Wyatt 6.
Of course, because
they're you're disparaging Bray's name and all, whatever.
He'll be a great leader.
Alexa feels like the one that could be tempted to turn to Bo's side at some point because she already was being tempted by Bo and Uncle Howdy and that kind of stuff.
I'll tell you what, Alexa Bliss fans, they just want her back.
In general,
they don't care.
Listen, it's hard to have a baby, so give her some time.
Yeah,
I'm not saying she's gonna.
They understand.
Yeah,
they understand.
Yeah.
They're not. It's not like, hey, you just had the baby 2 weeks ago. Come back.
She may not even debut with the group. She may be later on a little bit too, but I think she should be a part of this. This is also who I think should be. It's my list. I have 2 women in this group. I have Nikki Cross in this group too.
Oh well, yeah.
Talk about the lost soul, not knowing where she's supposed to be, found purpose, that kind of stuff. Plus, her and Alexa have history. If you're looking to try maybe get some championships in this group to really legitimize it, women's tag team championships in a over top group like this, not like Damage Control, but like an actual over top group.
It would be a reunion too of Cross
history.
and Bliss.
Yeah, she could be the one that eventually
on the other side
pulls her in. Yeah,
that'll be something.
Yeah. I have Eric Rowan.
Yeah,
obviously. I mean, that's without being said. He's the last remaining original member of the Wyatt family alive.
I'm curious what his character will be when he returns.
It's funny you should say that. Because another person I have on that people are not going to like, but I think he fits the bill as Double I mentioned before. Donovan Dijak. And you mentioned what is Eric Rowan's role? Him and Dijak as tag champs. While promptly getting Dijak over.
Yeah.
With established stars. Because I'm sorry, Boss Man 2.0 is not going to do it on the main roster. He's going to get lost in the mid-card and fall off. You want to build him as a star, and he's not getting any younger. So let's get him in a spot prominently with a group where we can. He's got the size, they both do. The whole Wyatt family at the beginning was these 2 monsters next to Bray. And Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. He's 6'7", 6'8" guys. Dijak and Rowan fit the bill. Do it. And they can carry Rowan a little bit too. I do have Joe Gacy in this group. I think this is perfect for him. He was going to be originally part of the original Wyatt 6 too. I think that was something that was always planned.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be the Husky Harris version, the Huskus. That was his thing.
I ain't gonna lie, I was a fan of Husky Harris.
He is the Yeah, he is the Intercontinental U.S. champ of the group. He's the guy that really could get elevated a
That's
lot.
cool. And that's cool. That's perfectly fine.
And that's it. That's my 6. Bo Dallas, Alexa Bliss, Nikki Cross, Eric Rowan, Donovan Dijak, Joe Gacy. You're getting a good blend of stars that have been over, that have been around. You get a blend of some newer folks that haven't been exposed as much. That can definitely get some more eyes on them with this group. And you get Bo leading them, who I think, when allowed to expose his full potential, he becomes a world champion type contender and an over personality in WWE. Maybe not to where Bray was, but hopefully somewhere near it, because he has. The funny thing was, too, if you ask anyone in the family, all that stuff, Bo's the better worker.
Yeah.
In the ring, with his moveset, with everything he could do, with all the stuff he knows how to do, the psychology of the actual match. Even Bray said it. My brother's better than me when it comes to that. He just never had the ability to let the other side show. That's the difference between Bray and Bo. Bray, God rest his soul, was never considered the most technical wrestler. Bo was
But he was a showman.
He was. Bo was a very good technical wrestler. So pull that full circle now with adding personality in this sense to it, with leadership, with this kind of thing. You could get the full package, and there could be another star being made. And this guy's only in his, early to mid-30s?
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit, he's got experience in the company,
Which
too.
in today's age, way back when,
that's 10, 15
when you were
years.
in your 30s,
Yeah.
you're coming down the final stretch. But
now you're just getting started.
I know.
I mean, you got guys like Randy Orton and AJ Styles in their mid-40s looking like they're still in their primes for 10 more years. And you got this guy who's been used in WWE for a long time, but he is
I'm
there.
very excited to see the storytelling of this. I think the one area where Vince fell short in this area, he fell short in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well,
But I think the potential was always there, but the storytelling it felt incomplete. With the original Wyatt family stuff, like the introductions have always been great, but it felt like the follow-ups, the execution, it always seemed incomplete.
how do you keep the drum roll after the crescendo? Right, when these guys debut, or if it's just Bo to start, it's going to be insane. That's why some people thought it was going to be France. Honestly, looking back now at that crowd, maybe they kind of wish it was France too, because they would have been so fucking over there.
Well, you got a bunch of international shows coming up. I mean, maybe even Scotland.
The June in Glasgow, I think it's June 15th or something like that. A lot of the codes, the messages. I've followed some people that have dug deep into this shit, like the different QR codes and like the code behind it and all that stuff and everything too. A lot of it's pointing to June. So I mean, look for it somewhere in there, at least for the initial debut. Does that mean everyone's going to be there at once? I don't know.
And you got to introduce these guys too. I mean, some of these guys. And again, I'm just excited about the storytelling going into all this. I think people will relate to. I'm curious if they'll be presented as baby faces or heels. That discussion we can get to as we get closer to their debut.
Yeah.
But I'm just excited.
That screen again.
About all this. We bring this screen back. It's from a few years ago. By the way, this is courtesy of AEW. I didn't change the highlight there, but this is courtesy of AEW.
It's yellow
MJF.
like Tony Khan's underbelly.
I know. So, so we presented this a few weeks ago. Since we presented this, everyone on Kyle's side has re-signed.
These two did.
They have both re-signed.
Those two.
We await
She's
the person on
She's very close.
on my right shoulder, your left, Becky, and MJF. Oh, one person we do not have on this, Kevin Owens. He's the next name. His contract's up. I guess
Kevin's going to fall into an unfortunate situation where I think Triple H values the hell out of him. But at the same point, what's there left for him to do?
Yeah.
I mean, he's been Universal Champion, maybe WWE Champion is something with Cody he can get into and stick his thing. The problem is, though, he's a face. He's not beating Logan Paul for the U.S. title. That'll be someone else's job. So you're kind of in a tough spot with Kevin, where you got to find these mid-feuds with the bloodline. It's filler.
Yeah.
What's the eventual goal of Kevin Owens in WWE now? I mean, you could say Rumble, but is he going to get that over to be in a spot where he needs to be the Rumble winner?
And there's enough main eventers now where he probably is not touching a world title.
I hope to Christ he doesn't go to AEW because he's just gonna fall off. I mean, it's if they're even around in a year, which they probably will be because, like I said, Tony will just pour money into it. Even if they're losing money left and right, they'll still do it. But I mean,
it's just
never
again. KO seems like a guy who's loyal to. Honestly, with KO though, if he left WWE, I think it's more likely he would go to Japan or go to the Indies.
He might just
as opposed
MLW,
to AEW.
TNA, maybe.
Yeah,
he has friends. He's friends with the Bucks and those guys in AEW. But I think Kevin's also not stupid.
Yeah,
like he's not gonna go to a place. It's kind of like I know everyone made fun of the Goldberg video, but like at the same point, it's like there's a reason why it's our most popular video on TikTok. 30,000 views for a reason. Like it's true. There's not a viable alternative out there that's really going to make you go there, compete, and feel like, man, I did something really good today. No, if you want to go hang out with your friends, well, then go hang out with your friends, make a bunch of money, and enjoy putting out a shitty product. But if you want to do good work in your role, which whatever it is, but at that point also, too, that means that Kevin's got to push it a little more.
Mm-hmm.
We loved Kevin when he was just going off the fucking rails.
Yeah.
Like Psycho Kevin Owens, where he's motherfucking and doing all this stuff. Like, that's what we need to see. That's how he gets back in that championship stratosphere. Not mid-card, championship stratosphere. So he's got to be a heel to do it, too. Kevin Owens is the baby face.
Unless he valued his feud with Chris Jericho over everything else he has done in his career.
Yeah, Chris Jericho will suck that shit up right when he gets back.
Man. Yeah, that'll be... Cause that's the other thing. If KO goes to AEW, KO is not going to be mixing it up with young guys. He's going to be swallowed up by Chris Jericho.
He'll wrestle Jericho. He'll wrestle probably Okada. He'd wrestle a couple of those guys, and it's like, okay, cool. You give me your Dave Meltzer 6-star match and give me that draw of 600,000 people.
You still think MJF's going back to AEW?
I think he's already back. And I don't know if they added time on for injury or if it's he already re-signed a 3-year deal before it even all hit the fan. But man, if I were him, I'd fucking head for the hills.
I have to imagine have to imagine if he's back at AEW, he has to be the highest paid wrestler in the sport.
No.
Like
Tony wouldn't do that. I mean, Tony pay him. He's up there, but
because honestly, it doesn't make any sense for MJF to stay there.
Why?
Unless
you've done everything there anyway.
It just doesn't make sense.
Besides the fact that it's a shit promotion and the guy who runs is an idiot. Like, dude, you've done everything you can. You've been world champion. You made a couple guys get over in the process too, and Wardlow and some of those other guys. It was you that did this. You made Chris Jericho relevant after his world title run.
Yeah, so I don't think you'll be able to do that again, though. It's not your fault. It will not be your fault, but I don't think you can make Chris Jericho relevant again.
There comes a point where sometimes you have to look at the writing on the wall, and the grass actually is greener on the other side. And because WWE is going to Netflix, like I told you before, you can be you. MJF, and especially now with The Rock's The Rock fucking loves MJF. Like, if he gets it clear with The Rock, say whatever you want. Go ahead. Serious? Yeah, go ahead. Fuck it.
We will talk more AEW this upcoming weekend.
Saturday. No, it's not some bullshit, collision that you have to watch. This one will actually be entertaining. And we're going to try and do this. So this we talked about before, if I may plug this side spinoff here. This is our Fix It series. We talked about it before, going through different promotions, gimmicks, whatever, and saying, how can we fix this? My premise of this is having 5 steps to fix insert topic here. Of course, we couldn't think of a better inaugural topic than AEW, right? With that. So that being said, this Saturday, at some point during the afternoon, we'll do that. Our goal is to make that about a half hour long. We want it to be long enough so you can sink your teeth into it, but not long enough where it's like, oh, it's another episode of the podcast. We want to try and make it its own thing and kind of really bring it forward to you guys so you can really, and we also want your opinions and your thoughts in the comments. We want to get your feedback on, things you think they could do differently, they can do better, things maybe you thought they're doing well that they could keep, we want all of that input so we can kind of figure out. Because honestly, at the end of the day, our goal is to help these people. Does Tony Khan watch our podcast? I hope fucking not. Because if he does, someone's
He's a real man if he did.
Someone's going to arrest me at some point.
He's a real man if he did.
But nevertheless, I mean, it's one of those things where if someone's paying attention somewhere, like we're getting a decent following now. We're starting to build this up a little bit. If someone's paying attention and they happen to see some of this and they're like, that's not like a terrible idea. If we get one ball rolling, it's like a beach ball in the crowd in San Diego, man. I'm all for it.
You think his neck is okay? Don't answer that. Don't answer that. All right.
I've been really calm today.
Which
I'm sure for all the viewers are kind of like, oh, he's been real chill.
Like, I just want to make sure.
It's mainly because I'm tired and I haven't eaten yet. But like,
me neither.
Yeah.
Again, we're taping earlier. I was in the office today too, so,
yeah.
or yesterday.
I'm in the office every day.
Aha! How about that?
Because we post every day.
That is true.
We're all over the place, man.
That is true. All right, couple news and notes before we wrap. Before we get going, first off, USA Network will carry both Raw and SmackDown this fall. The USA Network and WWE, there was a gap. So remember, Netflix is jumping into January of 2025.
Yes.
The USA Network deal with Raw expired at the end of September.
Yes.
There was a gap. And today, or yesterday, they filled that gap. So October, November, December, USA Network will air both Raw and SmackDown.
Netflix couldn't pay for the extra 3 months. They gave him $5 billion fucking dollars. Anyway, continue.
I think. First off, it'll be cool.
5.1.
Look. Q4, quarter 4 for USA Network will be really strong.
Yeah.
Wrestling will carry. They'll have 2 because NXT will go to the CW in October. But hey, 5 hours of wrestling, that it will help USA Network. It help WWE fans. That will get them accustomed to the transition of wrestling is on USA Network
on Fridays. Yeah,
there's no awkwardness. The one thing to watch out for on the SmackDown side in September, Fox is planning on replacing SmackDown with college football every single week. So what might happen in September, SmackDown might move to FS1 in September. All those shows that would have, when they, have the World Series and stuff, that might get moved. So just
the good news is at least they'll get through SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
Still in the main spot, and then obviously it's a buffer period, whatever. I mean, the good news is for USA, they're still going to have 2 shows that draw 4 to 5 million people a week.
There you go.
So that's more they can say about AEW. I mean, AEW draws 1 million maybe, with all 3 of their shows. So I mean, it's
and it's gone down. We actually had a great response too, as far as and something we'll point out on Saturday's podcast to fix it, on the importance of the quarter hour and how when you lose those viewers, but every decision you make when producing a television show is important. Everything. I mean, it's one thing even on pay-per-view, and if you really want to, you can nitpick the format of their pay-per-view too, but you can at least say, oh, pay-per-view, once you're there, you're there. But television is different. Television, how do you start the show? How do you go about things? What do you... It's so important, and, thank you guys for those responses too.
Yeah. Hey, if you want to tell me I'm full of shit, just comment on our stuff.
Hey, but
I'm open to it.
Those things are so important as far as television producing and things like that, and how you grow new fans.
We'll dive into this.
Yeah,
it's going to be fun on Saturday. I've never been more excited to wake up at 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning than this Saturday. So,
King of the Ring so far, King/Queen of the Ring. The tournament's been great to this point, but what are your overall thoughts? I guess we have more wrestling. Do you want to see more wrestling on Raw and SmackDown? Because that's kind of how it's going to be over the next couple of weeks. Or do you prefer more promos and kind of that balance?
I like a good balance. Because we talked about it before. You can have 7 5-star matches on the show, but if you have no storytelling, if you have no way to move things forward with the microphone, it's why it's more than just you got to be more than a one-trick pony. So WWE has the I'm going to say the privilege or even just the ability to do both.
Yeah.
They have a lot of great workers. Now, luckily, a lot of those workers can talk. We can have 2 King of the Ring matches this hour, but CM Punk could come out at the top of the hour because he's not medically cleared yet and cut a sick promo on Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can do all this.
And Drew responded. I didn't get a chance to watch the video yet.
It was great.
Drew responded.
It was. Of course it is.
Of course.
Drew McIntyre
it's
posted
true.
on social media.
Of course, it's true.
But the only problem I had with Punk's promo is that he actually didn't wait in the ring. I mean, he said, I'll hold the whole damn show again, and he left.
Yeah.
It's like, tell me you're on a short leash.
Yeah.
Without telling me you're on a leash.
I don't think Punk's focused. He was more focused on trash-talking Jackie Redmond over the Stanley Cup playoffs. By the way, Lil C played it too. He walked past Chad Gable. Chad Gable's going in.
When do we get to the people that need to step up? Are we still doing that?
Let's do that now.
We did a little headlines. We can.
Yeah, let's do that now before we wrap. We got a couple minutes.
I'm glad you brought up Chad Gable. He needs to step up. The heel turn had a lot of momentum, and it feels like it's kind of stalling out. I get like I said, long-term storytelling, the booking, and all that stuff, but a random spot in the back with Punk walking by where he fist bumps him, where he's just yelling at these guys, get to the point. There's only so many times you can show him yelling at him before someone's got to snap. You know, pride's got to kick in for one of those 3. I imagine probably it's going to be Otis first, but and the Creeds are just sitting there. Like, have the damn Creeds come in, attack them, turn them heel, let Chad do this.
I thought that was going to happen already with the Creed brothers.
They're waiting. I guess they're, like I said, it's. I get the patience, but sometimes you have to strike while the iron's hot. Now, granted, I'm saying all this, and we said it all after WrestleMania 39 with Cody, and we waited a full year, and that happened. Problem is with Gable, are they going to be able to get the same kind of flip where he, with the Creeds, goes up to where it's like, holy shit, this is Kurt Angle, Shelton Benjamin, and Charlie Haas type thing. That's what this should be, because Julius is Shelton. You know, I mean, it's you have the pieces there to match it up with the athletic ability, with the ability to talk, with a leader who, when he's an asshole, could be really fun, like an actual dick, not like a funny dick. Not something you saw when you were in college, but an actual, like, you know, real man. Never mind. I'm speaking to the women in our audience. What are you looking at? I'm over here.
Go ahead.
Jim's not paying attention. He's in his own world.
Go ahead, man.
Oh, don't lie to me. Don't lie to me.
There's a reason why Pete skipped this week. I'm kidding.
He's never mind.
Don't say.
No. But for me, it's Chad Gable. He's dropping the ball a little bit. I think he needs to pick it up. I think they need to either that or just give him more time to talk, to explain more, to get in these angles. Because I mean, he's got this triple threat with Sammy. I think it's in Riyadh for the IC title with Bronson Reed. Bronson is just doing what he's doing. He's exactly where he's going to be. But I mean, Chad should be in the world title picture. He with that heel gimmick, with how over it was with the crowd, like, he needs to get there.
And maybe it starts with a championship. And this is the one time, because Sammy, you know, I know Triple H values long title reigns, but this is the one time if Chad got the strap right here, right now, even if you pin Bronson and he won it that way, like, I wouldn't mind, because it's time.
I think it's more likely that Bronson wins it.
That's what I'm thinking.
And then that's where maybe Chad gets pinned or something like, like you said, and that's where it's like, oh shit, okay. Sammy gets kind of a buy out of it, even though he did his job. He won his singles title this year. He said it was the thing. He wanted to win singles gold. Yeah. But I mean,
all right, I'll mention this quick so I know we get a wrap. For me, Jey Uso, and I mention this because.
Wow.
This is a good thing, and again, this is who needs to step up, because obviously, like, Jey Uso's at another planet as far as status, right? As far as
most over babyface on Raw.
The most over, but now I want to see him step up in the ring. I want to see if that's his style, right? Because I for the most part do enjoy his matches, but now there's, with him being way over now, there is a extra level of expectation where he needs to fully produce in the ring. The only thing that's working against him, the WrestleMania match, it wasn't the greatest. And, now if he could be trusted to carry a match, singles, Jey Uso can be trusted to carry a match on a night-in, night-out basis. I'm not saying he needs to go out there and be Shawn Michaels. But if he could be trusted to carry on a quality match where people will be satisfied. And I'm not talking about us. I think we both like Jey Uso matches. But, there are people who don't like it. So he needs to elevate his game even more. I think he needs to elevate his game even more in the ring to support the overall superstar presence that he is delivering outside the ring and before matches and after matches. If he could do that, out of everybody we talked about in the Bloodline storyline and everything, Jey Uso might emerge as Jey Uso has the potential to reach all-time Hall of Fame status as a singles wrestler.
So he's already a Hall of Famer because of his tag team stuff. He's
a
10-time tag champion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
so again, this is one of those conversations you talk about in sports. Donovan Mitchell, I guess. Donovan Mitchell is already a really, really phenomenal, NBA player, but now it's, can he get himself to that next level? And quite honestly, the way the Cavs are playing, he's the only guy. Whatever. Anywho, but that's just what it is. It's like, all right, can you get to that next level? So for me, it's Jey Uso. But I want to do this every week. Stock up somebody who may have a big match, who may have a big promo, who may be coming off of something huge. What's next? Like who needs to elevate themselves? And I like your Chad Gable. I think you're 100% spot on everything you said about that. And again, Jey Uso, I think he can take it even further than he has already. All right, again, Saturday, we're back with you. The Fix It series, episode 1 will start with All Elite Wrestling.
We're getting closer, by the way, to being able to go live on TikTok. So be ready for that.
YouTube, keep subscribing as well. Thank you, and all that, and do those things. Now it is hot in the studio, so it's time for us to go.
I'm comfy. I didn't yell today.
You didn't.
How about that? If you're looking for me to just get mad and break the sunglasses out and cut a promo.
He was 15 minutes late today, Jim.
See, I'm an adult. I have things I have to do that.
I saw you cutting the grass.
I was cutting the grass, really. I had to cut. It's going to rain the next 3 days. I had to cut the grass.
We were cutting. I did drive past you.
After working 9 hours, yes, I had to cut the grass too.
That's
Then
true.
I had to take my kid to my
true.
in-laws' house. Yeah, I was doing shit. Sorry.
Mm-mm-mm.
I have what you call a family and a responsibility. He brought it up, so
I did.
So
I
I'm gonna
did.
just bash him over the head.
Because there's an assumption that wrestling people don't do anything in their life.
No, contrary to popular belief, most of us have lives. We just enjoy this, but this is the fun time for me.
The one day I'm in the office, Pete's not even.
No, because he's a slacker. What the fuck is he doing today? Nothing. What, being a good dad? Pfft, whatever. Okay.
He's at a band concert. What's the
We don't
problem?
even know if that kid's even his.
I have no parts in this. I'm done. I have no parts.